Hi, Andy Lockwood, and today's question is: how do you choose a school that's actually going to help you get something out of college more than what you put in? How do you choose a school that's going to help you get a job or get into grad school or whatever? So, I'm not even sure that guidance counselors or most families or whomever really think about college in terms like this. To me, it's more about focusing on what happens after college, the 40 years after you graduate, not the hopefully 4 years that you are in college. So I can tell you a little bit about how we approach that, but our approach is not right for everyone. I'm the first to admit that. So what we do is first spend a little bit of time not thinking about college, but thinking about the next 40 years. And to that end, what I mean is we will do a combination of a strength finding assessment, which is designed to draw out a particular kid's strengths, aptitudes, things to stay away from, things that won't make him or her successful. We use a particular assessment. I think you could probably use anyone. I'm not the expert here, but I will tell you that our process, not only did Pearl and I, my wife and I, go through this before we started referring our clients to it, and since then we've had about 150 or so people go through it, but including our own son. And the process is a combination of the strength finding assessment and then a consultation with our career counselor, who is very, very smart and well versed. Not only is she certified in this strength finding methodology, but she was also she was an admissions officer at a big Northeastern state school, and she was a high school guidance counselor. And the idea is to identify careers and majors that lead to those careers that not only match up with your strengths, with your aptitudes and what you're wired for, I guess, but also where you can actually make a living according to things like the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And then from there, what we do is we then backward plan into the list of colleges that can help fulfill those goals. It's never just one goal or one major or one career. It's usually a series of overlapping careers, or as many as 5 or 6 or 8 or 10 or whatever. So I can tell you a couple of quick anecdotes about that. We had one kid who the parents were, they didn't think of it this way, but they were pressuring their child into going into into the family business, which was pharmacy. They owned a pharmacy. They own a pharmacy, and the kid didn't really say much about it. And then we were getting closer to the time where we were finalizing her college list, and I said to her, I was like, "Hey, what are all these pharmacy schools on here?" And she said, "Yeah, I don't really want to do that, but I don't want to fight with my mom about it." And I said, "You know what? Let's go through our process." So fast forward about a week later, she completes everything. She's having a consultation, and I'm on the phone this time for this one. And at the end, I said to Julie, our counselor that we were working with, I said, "So do you think it makes sense for her to consider going to pharmacy school?" And Julie said, "Absolutely not. She is not good at taking tests. She doesn't like science." And she listed 5 or 6 different things. And the parents were sort of taken aback by it. But they understood that this assessment was very accurate because they'd already bought into it, because everyone buys into it. It's dead on accurate because it matches you up versus 3.8 million other people who've taken this particular assessment. It's called the Berkman. So anyway, a week or so passed, and then the mom started asking me again, "Well, I think she should still consider pharmacy." And I said, "Listen, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but it's pretty clear to me that is like the equivalent of pounding a square peg into a round hole. Please don't do it." So she ended up not doing it, and she was kind of reluctant. Here's what happened next. This is kind of interesting to me. Now I'm working with a younger sister who's 2 years younger, and she went through the assessment, and the mom was a big proponent of it. And not only that, but the mom herself is in between careers, and she took it to kind of figure out what she should be doing. So she went from being a little skeptical about it to being, all in, like a born again with the strength assessment. So that's just one example. I had another kid who was dying to be an architect. She'd done a summer program at WashU in St. Louis, and she had done an internship, in the middle of her school year. Very talented kid, very smart. She went to a public school that she had to test to get into. And it turned out that architecture did, in fact, match up with her wiring. The issue, though, is when you looked at the Bureau of Labor Statistics, it's one of the worst fields to get into because there aren't any jobs. So in her case, what Julie was our career counselor was able to do was to point out some other fields that also correlated very highly with how she was wired, including urban planning and civil engineering and so forth. So that's how we do it. I think that's the only responsible way, because the stakes are really too high to wing it these days. 80% of kids change majors. Only 39% or maybe less get out of college in 4 years. And 50% of kids who graduated within the last 2 years don't have a job that requires a college degree, which is just nuts. So you really have to have a strategy, and this is the way that we do it. So if you want some more information about our process, please feel free to book a complimentary college strategy session. You can do so on this page. This is Andy Lockwood. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.